Welcome to SO 311, Study Session 3, Community Organization. Introduction. In this study session, we'll discuss the process of community organization, community disorganization, and the characteristics. This is with a view to providing an insight into its importance in social work. Objectives. At the end of this lecture, we should be able to 1. Define the concept of community organization. 2. Identify the premises of community organization. 3. Identify the characteristics of community disorganization. 4. States its importance and reliance in social work. Community organization is a process of bringing community members together and providing them with the tools to help themselves. It provides an avenue for building communities and community development. There are elements that are common in both social work and community development. Efforts to deal with individual infrastructure may develop into programs for organizational or institutional change when it is perceived that individualized solutions are not adequate. On the other hand, broad program of social change requires implementation at the level of individuals and groups to assure that their potential benefits will be realized. Increasingly, services are being provided as a matter of right and are based on assumption of collective responsibility for meeting the normal needs of people in rural and urban societies. Among the positive achievements of community action is the articulation of problems and needs as perceived by the people themselves. Community organization, like community action among the people, stresses the process of bringing people together in joint activities, but it also lacks a policy foundation for meaningful social change. Community organization is to enable members of the community to cooperate in order to improve their well-being and develop necessary capacity and confidence in handling their affairs within the community. Definition of community organization. 1. Community organization is a method of educating community members for the attainment of unity of purpose and action so necessary to effective social change. It emphasizes the idea of cooperation, collaboration, and integration, which is fundamental to community development. 2. It creates a community whereby the needs and resources available are balanced. In other words, the community identifies the various resources to satisfy the needs and problems prevailing in the community. It stresses the need of assisting people to recognize their common needs and helping them to meet these needs. 3. It essentially deals with the program relationship as against direct services idea of social case work or group work. 4. Community organization is also viewed as a philosophical concept. It fosters a working relationship between the democratic process and specialists. The democratic process is in the total membership of the community participating in affairs of the community while believing that everyone has special skills and services to offer the community. Hence, there should be division into areas of special skills, and at the same time, there should be cooperative attitude in the community. Community organization is a means through which social organization of the community is enhanced when people make a conscious effort to control their affairs democratically and receive services of their specialist organizations and institutions through means of community interaction. 5. A process by which a community identifies its needs or objectives, orders or ranks these needs or objectives, find the resources, internal and external, to deal with these needs or objectives, take actions in respect of them, and in so doing, extend and develop cooperative and collaborative attitudes and practices in the community. 5. Community organization is a deliberate action by the community and with the main objective of changing and improving the community. The activities in a community often range from social, welfare, education to recreation and community development. Communities set up structures and institutions as machinery to meet the challenges in community organization. The machinery might include a community education board, community welfare board, and so on. The premises of community organization. 1. Community organization is based on the challenge for change to meet the present and future situation in the community. In this wise, the community should be ready for innovation and change. There should be improvement in existing skills and community structure. The change must accommodate ability to reason, understand, and appreciate the need for change. 2. Community organization should foster the capacity of the people to solve problems whenever they arise. It means people should develop capacity to induce modification or alteration for social change. The community organization should be elastic and should always project into the future. 3. There should be awareness for change in the society. People will appreciate social and economic development designed to solve their problems if they are well informed. They will be able to make contributions towards such development and change in their community in as much as they are well aware of the benefits. 4. Members of the community are not just to participate in the change process, but they can direct the course of the major change taking place. Through this, community members take their destiny in their hands by controlling the process of change in their community. The emphasis should be self-reliance and self-help for development. The people are therefore prepared for self-development, which creates sense of belonging and psychological attachment to the community. 5. In community organization, self-initiated changes through felt need of the people bring permanent changes and sustainable development. The imposed changes lack sense of belonging, which accompanies community-initiated projects, and commitment to the programs is therefore lacking. Community organization stimulates the desire for better things and a change in a gradual process. 6. Community organization can enhance operations of democracy in the community. It enables people to have capacity to learn the skills of democracy, which facilitates social change and cooperative participation in activities designed to improve their welfare. People come together to determine their problems and find solutions through democratic process. They lean on local initiative to define and solve their problems using available local resources. Every member of the community is given opportunity to participate in the decision-making and problem-solving process. Thus, democratic skills are enhanced at the grassroots through community organization. 7. Community organization often requires the governmental direction and assistance in the process of inducing desirable social change in local community. It is a joint effort of the government and the people in the cause of inducing social change. Communities need the help of the government to channel the cause of social change through the governmental agents attached to the community. The community may initiate plans of action for social change, but it needs government support through policy formulation, financial assistance, technical support, program monitoring, and evaluation. The people and government are stakeholders in the process of social change. Community disorganization. In such communities, urban or rural, there is the possibility that social relationship is less intimate with those outside people's kidnap groups. Community in which such social relationship loses its grip of intimacy tends towards a state of disorganization or conflict. Characteristics of community disorganization include: 1. People in such a community feel their stay is only temporal. They usually rent the place they dwell in and develop a nonchalant attitude towards the property. This squatter or tenant property relationship is accompanied by disinterest in the ownership of personal property. 2. People grow indifferent to group and community relationship. This may breed an atmosphere of suspicion, distrust, and jealousy in personal and group relations. 3. Communication between neighbors is very often minimal, while malicious whispering and propaganda may become the major activities of pressure groups. 4. Loyalty and a sense of commitment are retained in people's community of origin. The paradox, however, is that in the disorganized community, many families produce children who have never even visited their parents' community of origin. In this instance, such children grow up without any knowledge of the language spoken in their parents' community of origin, thus lost in the anonymity of urban population. They never learn to feel any sense of responsibility or loyalty to any community. 5. In many African townships, there may be several ethnic groups forming rival factions. This leads to an inefficient social organization. Most of them are not only struggling to survive, but are also marketed by lack of coordination. 6. There is a feeling of indifference towards the community's past. Hence, there is little civic pride or loyalty of the community. This leads to generalized apathy towards the solution of community problems. 7. Lethargic attitudes towards the community's problem often leads to frustrated agitation or fanatic idealism by radical groups who may not even be ashamed to ally with lawbreakers to make life uncertain and insecure in the community. 8. Illiteracy is likely to predominate, with a manifestation in a wasteful exploitation of natural resources, leading to a decline in standard of living as well as widespread poverty. 9. Belief in magic and superstition can be a general phenomenon. This has the potency of destroying the benefits of community education, particularly in the area of health, where superstitious belief can lead people to rely on the manipulation of witch doctors and juju priests instead of having confidence in health visitors. 10. Social services are apt to be inadequate and inefficient, with conflicting organizations operating in an atmosphere of exclusiveness. 11. With very uneven distribution of wealth, mass poverty has to be widespread. This may be evident in the decadence of local industries and poor living conditions of the people. 12. Community leaders are more interested in power sharing and the retention of position than in the solution to community problems. Hence, with lack of intelligence and imaginative local leadership, the administration of a disorganized community can be frustrated by low morale, apathy, and outright neglect. 13. There is a general state of stunned awareness of political responsibility. The result is a disorganized community manifesting in nepotism and various forms of corruption in public services. 14. Work regarded as a community for sale and people are geared towards making immediate profit from what ought to be rendered as service to the community. The result is that labor is generally inefficient. In such a state of flux, people cannot lay claim to creative living. Emotion and tension become visible features of disorganized community life. 15. Indifference to religion can also be visible with a mixture of illiterates, half-educated, and possibly a few educated individuals in an atmosphere of suspicion, distrust, and to establish any meaningful religious guidance situation. People are apt to fall prey to such antisocial habits and drunkenness, drug addiction, and lawlessness. 16. Hence, in a disorganized community, there can be high rate of disease, delinquency, crime, and illegitimacy. As a result, the community lacks social stability. 17. There is no room for atheistic expression. A community that is prone to a confused and wasteful exploitation of natural resources and in which people have little or no civic pride cannot aspire to the beauty of planned layout. In any form of a community that is generally mobile, one cannot expect anything higher than overcrowded dwelling in ugly environment. Community organization in Africa. There are various problems confronting development in African community organization. This is principally concerned with ordering relationship between individuals and groups in a community with the purpose of making the community attain its set goals. Hence, the various problems should be identified on individual and at communal level. There should be the ordering of relationship between individuals and groups in a community. It is essential that people in the community must forge cooperative actions which are crucial for the development of the community. In essence, every member must identify with the goals and aspirations of the community and should be ready to make sacrifice as a member of the community. There should be interrelationships, understanding, and interactions among the members. It is expected that there should be awareness, members' relationships, values, norms, and roles binding the community together as a social structure. Whatever behavioral pattern exhibited by the members of the community must be modified in accordance with prevailing community norms. Relevance of community organization in social work. Community organization help the community members to develop capacity to deal with their own problems through collective actions. People come together and get organized to tackle their problems. They can decide on the best means to solve communal problems using available local resources. Moreover, community organizations foster citizens' participation, which is an essential factor in social work. People therefore take their destiny in their hands. Community organization enhances self-chosen development by community members. Community organization stimulates people to desire better things for themselves. This is essential in social work, whereby people come together to solve their problems, promoting self-help, self-reliance, and self-growth. Community organization has capacity to develop democratic values that can enhance freedom of all community members to choose their leaders and freedom of speech at community meetings. It also makes members to jointly decide their felt needs and decide steps to bring about development. Summary. We have discussed community organization, community disorganization, and the characteristics. Community organization enhances social work and community development. This is the end of study session 3. Thanks for listening.